What's good, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about a credit builder option, which is going to build credit on all three credit bureaus. It's going to add a seasoned Tradeline to your credit report. I'm talking up to 2, 3, 5 years worth of credit history to your credit report. You get all this with no credit check, and you don't have to do anything different than what you have already been doing. And let me go ahead and tell you what this is all about coming up. If you don't know me, I'm Will Frazier, your credit and business expert, and I'm here to give you tips on your personal credit, business, and business funding. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this credit builder option that is called Boom. And basically with Boom, you are able to report your rental history, but it's not like most of the other ones. This one's a little bit different, and this is the first time I covered a rent reporting service on the channel, and this is why. You're gonna get some more details on this coming up, but first off, just looking at how they start things off on the site, you can build credit with your rent payments. Of course, that's obvious. Report your rent payments for $2 per month. Boom reports to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And of course, $2 a month, that totals up to about $24 for the year. So for $24 for the year, you can have your rent reported to all three credit bureaus. Now, that is a pretty good and very low price to get some history added to your credit report. And the way that this account affects your credit report is also going to be very, very useful to you in building credit versus the other options that are out there. But again, I'll get to that. And as you can also see here, it says reporting ongoing payments and up to 24 months of prior payments. You can see your credit score impacted in 10 days, as little as 10 days. So with most options, when you're trying to build credit, you probably have to wait 30 days, sometimes 60 days, because you have to wait for this account to actually hit your credit report before you'll actually see any changes. And most companies only report information every 30 days or so. And if you miss the billing cycle, or I'm sorry, if you miss the cycle in which they report to the credit bureaus, then that means that you will probably end up waiting more so like 60 days to see that change on your credit report. So seeing a change in your credit in as little as 10 days can be really beneficial to you, especially if you're in a time crunch trying to get your score up to make a particular purchase within a certain time. So that is very, very good that they report that. And then, as they mentioned, that's 24 months of history on top of whatever you have going on currently with your payment history with them, in the current year. But the great benefit to the fact that they are adding the 24 months of past payment history to your credit report, well, I'm gonna cover in just a minute why that is gonna be so impactful, because there's an extra benefit that comes with that you need to know about as well. But let's go ahead now here and get some more information. As you can see here, they report to all three bureaus as mentioned. How it works: you enroll and Boom does all the work behind the scenes to verify your report and rent payments. And also, they do kind of a rental assistance where they pay the rent for you, and then you pay them back over the course of that month before your next rent payment is due. So that is another benefit to this company as well. But again, we'll get to that part as well. So achieve your next financial objective. You can establish credit because they report rent payments that can help you build up a thin file or no file and start establishing some type of credit through the payment history that they report to your credit bureau. And of course, here they're mentioning the different products that can kind of by building up your history with this, what it can help you to get, like credit cards, personal loans, car loan, rental screening, mortgages, because a high credit score can make the difference between whether home ownership is attainable. Rent reporting is used by some lenders. So basically, if you actually already have this reported to your credit report, that's showing them that you are able to pay on time your current rent amount. So that is going to help you in regards to being able to get a proof of mortgage, because they can already see that, because mortgage lenders do try to verify if you have paid your current rent on time before they try to give you all that money for the mortgage payment that you're about to be paying. Not to mention other rental properties. If you are in a situation where you're not ready to move to a house and you're in a situation where you're probably going to end up trying to rent from another place, like maybe rent a house versus an apartment or something like that, this can be something that can help you, because your rent is being reported, or another apartment complex too, but this is reporting your rental payments on your credit report, where they can accurately see if you were a person that paid on time or not. And now down to what it will cost you in order to do this. As I already mentioned to you, about $24 a year to have a year's worth of payments reported to the credit bureaus. Now that option is if you pay for the year, as far as the $2. Now it's $3 if you choose to pay on a month-to-month basis, but if you want to pay for the whole year, you can save a good bit of money and you can just get it out the way for just $24. I'm pretty sure you have that in your bank account right now. But again, if you wanted to add in that extra 24 months of payment history, not just your current payment history, then you can pay an additional $25 and then you'll be able to report that additional information. So for about $49, you'll be able to have up to 2 years of credit payment history on your credit report added, and then you're covered for the whole year at the same time. Now, the additional benefit that you get if you end up doing this, adding that past history versus just your current history, what you're also going to do is, however long you've been at that place that you've been renting, let's say you've been there for 5 years or so. So yes, for that $25, they will add 24 months of payment history to your credit report, but they're going to add the open date to that account on your credit report as the date that you actually started leasing at that place. So if you've been there for 5 years or so, that means that the open date would show 5 years prior, which means you have just essentially added 5 years of credit history to your credit report because the account is 5 years old. So you can be a person that has absolutely no credit at all, add this rent reporting option with the past history included, and then if you've been at the place that you've been renting for about 5 years or something different, something high like that, then that will add all of that history to your credit report, which is something you can usually only obtain if you got added as an authorized user to somebody's credit card. But this is something that will be reported as yours on your credit report, and it actually will hold more weight that is coming from you versus you being added to somebody else's account as an authorized user. Now, another beauty to this type of account through Boom is going to be the fact that you have no landlord involvement it's not required in you getting this set up. So your landlord does not need to be partnered with Boom, nor do we need to involve them. So basically, they don't have to already be signed up as a partner for you to be able to use this, and also they don't have to reach out to them and have the back and forth between your landlord to try to get this set up for you. You can actually just bypass all of that and be able to set this up in your name and have your rental payments reported without having to deal with anything with the landlord at all. And again, as I already said, no hard or soft pull for your credit. So enrolling never requires any credit pull that could negatively impact your credit score. So you don't have to worry about losing points from an inquiry or anything like that. You don't have to worry about them looking at your credit at all. So, again, all of that is very, very great benefits. And okay, some questions that you might be asking: is Boom reporting for me? Boom Report is helpful for any renter seeking to establish or build credit. Boom Report members typically see a credit score increase anywhere from 5 to 100 points. And I believe the average is anywhere from 30 to 40 points, depending on the individual and duration of rent reported. It's impossible to predict the exact impact, but generally, the lower your credit score, the bigger the impact you'll see. So if you have a lower credit score, you'll see a bigger impact from this, or you should see a bigger impact from this compared to somebody that has a higher credit score, like say in the 700s. So of course, if your score is lower, this is something that you probably want to do. And do I qualify to use Boom Report? You only need 3 things to use Boom Report. 1, a valid rental agreement within the last 24 months. So you have to have a lease. If you're renting from somewhere, I'm sure you have a lease. Even if you don't have it on you, I'm sure you can reach out to them and get a copy of that lease so that you can, submit this to them. The second thing you need is a social security number. Everybody has a social security number, so that shouldn't be hard either. And the third thing you need to have is a bank account that you have used to pay your rent payments, which we can connect to. So they're going to connect to your bank account because, of course, they have to be able to verify that you have actually paid the rent in order to report that information. And just to get some more information on that, let's go ahead and check that out. So, okay, now one thing that you might be asking yourself is, does this affect your credit negatively? Just signing up has no impact positively or negatively on our score. Once we've confirmed all information provided, we would then report your rent payments. We rarely, if ever, expect to see a negative impact on your score. In almost all cases, we'd expect to see a positive impact from 10 to 100 points, which can range depending on how many payments we submit, your current score, and how much credit you have outstanding. Now, in addition to that, the way that something like a rent reporting can show up on your credit report can be very different in different scenarios or depending on the company that you use. As you know, most things that show up on your credit report can show up as a loan. It can show up as a credit card, which is revolving, and you need to know how it shows up on your credit report to know how it's going to affect your score. Well, when it comes down to the Boom rent reporting and how it shows up on your credit report, basically it won't show up as a loan. It won't show up as like a credit card. So basically it won't affect the utilization, because as you know, if you have a credit card and you max it out, it can show up as a high utilization of your credit and lower your score. Well, this account won't show up like that. So the utilization on this account will not affect your credit score in a negative way. Now, other than that, how could this possibly affect your credit score? Well, in the payment history side. Now, if you are, let's say late paying your rent or something like that, usually you'll get fees and stuff like that from the landlord. Of course, that's a part of the lease. That's how that's going to happen. But on your credit report, late payments are only considered if they're 30 days late or more. So if you are 30 days late on paying your rent, then it can negatively affect your credit score. But if you never get that far behind on your rent payment, then it will not affect your credit score in a negative light. So that would never hit your credit report that you paid, 15 days late or something like that. But you will feel it in your pockets, because of course you're going to get charged fees for that from the leasing agent or the leasing office that you currently rent from. But that's to be expected whether you use this or not. So basically it won't affect you in a negative way that way. Now also, some accounts that are different from loans and credit cards can still affect your debt to income ratio with the way that the payments are reported. Well, with the way this account is reported, it won't affect your debt to income ratio, because a lot of times people get certain accounts like this to try to build up their credit, like say Experian Boost, and then when you go try to get a house, they are seeing certain payments reported on your credit report, and those things now have to be added into your debt to income ratio calculation. But now you wouldn't have to worry about that, because Boom Report doesn't report in a way that it would affect your debt to income ratio. So basically it doesn't have any downfalls that some of the other accounts may have when you're trying to get something to build credit with rental history. Now, we do have this other option that they do have available for you, which is called Boom Split, which is basically where they will split your rent payment and pay it in advance for you. Well, they don't pay it in advance, they pay it when it's due, but you have to pay them back after they have already paid the rent for you. And as you can see down here, they say Boom Split is currently available for renters who pay rent by rental portal, which is what I was talking about earlier. So Rent Cafe, Appfolio, Boom Split is not available if you pay rent by other methods like a check, ACH, Venmo, etc. So you have to have some type of rental portal where you pay your rent in order to qualify for Boom Split, which is how you can have your rent paid for you in advance, and then you make those payments back to Boom Pay so that you can clear out your balance and be able to do it again the next month. So pretty much that's everything that you need to know about Boom and what they have to offer you, and as far as adding something that can build credit to your credit report on all three bureaus with no credit check, and you can get a seasoned Tradeline with this added to your credit report for as little as $49, and that's your payment for the entire year. So very minimal cost, very large benefit, and the way that it affects your credit report is very, very beneficial to you in all aspects. So this is something I would definitely recommend if you're trying to build up some credit history. And again, you don't have to do anything different than you have already done, which is pay your rent, something that you have to do anyway. So why not benefit from that? So I hope this information was very useful to you in regards to building credit. If you thought this video was very helpful, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of any new videos I drop just like this. And I just want to thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys next time.